Yep. Coming to you live from Watkins, Glen, New York. Today, the Absolute Beginners League Indy Racing League. Things started off here running the full course at Watkins, Glen. We're in for 37 laps of IR-18 action here in the Absolute Beginners League today. Coming to you live once again from the Empire State. This is the GSRC production cut. I am Adam Young, and joining me here today is Dawson Brock in the director's chair. Of course, we have Sean Ambrose using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Coming up here in the next few minutes, we're going to get you updated on all the point standings and also all the other comings and goings of this league. And, well, maybe a few other little tidbits here and there that we'll get to. But Dawson, of course, Watkins Glen, a track that is just famed in circles across the United States. One of the premier racing circuits, of course, not just in the United States, but also the world.
Yep, just south of Seneca Lake amidst the rolling vineyards and woodlands in upstate New York. Finger Lakes region, the shrine of American motorsports, like you said. It's more than just a racetrack. It was the birthplace of post-war road racing in North America, a worthy test of some of the best drivers to ever sit in a race car. Now today we got the Indy cars going out there. In the real world, we see Cup cars go around here. We see Indy cars. We see IMSA in their 6 hours of the Glen happening this weekend in real life. So a great racetrack, just an icon in motorsports.
All right, and with that, we're going to go ahead and take that IR-18 around and give you an idea what it looks like from the driver's seat here at Watkins Glen.
It's critical that you find the power quickly and confidently. You'll often see anyone who makes a little lift find themselves under attack down into the heel of the boot. Note the narrow, steep curbing to the inside. It's best not to climb that or else the car gets unsettled. Finally, we return to the main circuit with turn 9.
So a little bit of a technical difficulty there with the lap guide. So we're coming back live from the blimp here at Watkins Glen, and of course looking at that top-down track. Just another beautiful facility that we keep talking about. You're going to hear us rave about that here quite a bit for today. And it looks a little bit different because we're under cloudy skies as well, which is just going to kind of add to the mystique here. And hopefully, of course, thankfully in the iRacing realm of things, we don't have rain quite yet, so we're not going to be calling for anything like that. Anyway, go ahead and let's talk about the driver's standing. Of course, here in the Absolute Beginners Indy League, we got 2 championships. We have a driver's championship and a team championship. We'll look at those driver's standings first. And, well, Harvey Bennett on top of this thing and on top of the championship here at round 11 by a wide margin. Now, of course, this is taking into account all 3 of the drops here so far. So that's a pretty substantial lead over Andrew Kinsella, who I do not see Andrew Kinsella listed inside the session here for today. So he's going to lose even more ground, but pretty much at this point, it's Harvey Bennett's championship to lose. All right, so now with that, we'll move over to the team standings. Of course, these teams could have no more than 2 drivers in maximum attack with Harvey Bennett and also Timu Ronco out there with 465 points. Also, the 3 drop races taken into account here. Petronas in second, falling back by 74. So just like the Drivers' Championship right now, it's maximum attacks. It's maximum attacks championship to lose on the team standing side as well. So Dawson, of course, you've been around quite a bit. I mean, you've been able to follow this this league. I mean, I've been able to call the Absolute Beginners League for the Formula Eagles side of things, and also now have the pleasure of actually racing with those guys. So why don't you go ahead, if maybe these people's first time watching the Absolute Beginners Indy Racing League here, go ahead and walk us through the race details of what we're expecting for today.
All right, well, we're going to be running 37 laps here around Watkins Glen. Now, these guys here in the iRacing, they're allowed to make all the setup changes that they want. We're going to be looking at about 1 pit stop today. You have 10 push to passes as well. And, of course, as every other race, it's an incident cap of 20. Now, this is round 11 of 12. So this series is just about over with their first season. We have this race, and then in 2 weeks, we will head over to Pocono to wrap it all up. So make sure you catch the season finale next week, or in 2 weeks.
So there you have it. They're Pocono, and of course, these guys actually running for real life money actually in this series here this year. So I mean, first season for it. Hey, go ahead and stir up the pot a little bit. So let's take a look at that prize pool. Driver prize pool. They get $200 plus $5 per driver. In first place in the championship is going to get 27.5% of that. So that's going to be a hefty chunk of change that they'll be able to bring home. And of course, you can see on the team prize pool, they kind of got it broken out where the winning championship team gets $50, second $25, and third $15. So Harvey Bennett right now looks to be able to come home with a little bit of money, and everybody else kind of fighting for some of those other spots that are out there here for today. All right, let's go and take a look at qualifying, see what's going on with that. They got about 5 minutes left in qualifying. These drivers are allowed 3 laps here for today, and so far on pole is, well, as you'd expect, Harvey Bennett, the UK&I driver, Henry Bennett out there just tearing the wheels off this thing. I mean, he was 2 seconds faster than everybody else in practice, and so far almost 2 seconds ahead, about more of a second and a half over top of Richard Tam right now. Richard Tam sitting in second on the speed charts. Liam Quinn actually having a spin right now. Liam Quinn was provisionally qualified here in 7th. It looks like he's going to loop it around there coming out of the carousel and is going to have to pull it in. So as far as, Dawson, as far as the series goes, who are some of the other drivers to watch? We've already talked about Henry Bennett. Who else are you going to have your eye on here today?
Well, looking through it, Liam Quinn, Jamie Wilson, we saw both of them do great at Mid-Ohio last week. Richard Tam is always consistent, and it's good to see Tam showing a lot of pace, currently 3rd. But I think one of the newer drivers that we're seeing today in the 169 car, Floris Bichard, had great practice pace and now 2nd overall in the times. So I think right now, looking at with as much as Henry Bennett is dominating, Floris Bichard doing a great job to get that 2nd place. Maybe can find a little extra time and maybe get closer to Henry Bennett's blazing fast time.
And of course, Floris Bichard, if you've watched the Absolute Beginners League, you're no stranger to seeing Floris out there. And we know he can go fast. It's good to see him replicate that speed also in the full-blown IndyCar, the IR-18 that they run here in the Absolute Beginners Indy League. So, I guess another familiar face that you'll see right there, Sarah Dove, is out there. Of course, she runs, you see her a lot in Formula Renault races. And of course, seen her also running the IndyCar here in the ABIL for today, and it's going to come home. That last lap puts her 3rd on the leaderboard at a 1:23.648. So that actually shoves Richard Tam back down to 4th position, and she's only 0.3 off what Floris Bichard was able to put down.
Yeah, and I believe Richard Tam is done with his qualifying time, so we're going to go look at Ollie Quokka, who's trying to put down a time right now.
Yeah, we're going to switch over to James King, who runs really wide there out of the last corner, almost grabs that tire barrier, but he's able to put down a 24, looks like 9:19. I think he scrubbed off a lot of time there coming out of the last corner. So far, he's sitting in 11th, which is last out of cars to put down a time.
Let's see if we got anybody else still out there putting out times then.
So we do still have Sarah out there. I think James King's just kind of rolling around. He's not up to speed at all. Sarah Dove is the only one that is up to speed. She's working her way. Oh, actually puts a wheel off right there. Gets pretty close to losing the back end of that car. She comes back up onto the main course there, coming out of the boot, and it goes through that tight left-hander. Immediately switch over to go to the right-hander, which leads onto the front straightaway here, and pulls it out. She is not going to set a time there. Instead, decides to come down pit lane. So we'll go back to King. It looks like he is back up to speed, and maybe just kind of let the tires cool down so he can give it one more attempt here. Looking at his times. Oh, okay. So that last lap, I believe, might have been his 3rd lap. So he may be out there just right now for just practice. So we've got a minute left. We'll watch James here. We'll make sure that this time that he comes across is not going to be official before we declare the grid official. So he actually grabs the wall. So yeah, that's going to be it for him there. So let's go ahead and talk about the grid here. On the pole, no surprise, is going to be Henry Bennett. Starting alongside him on row number 1 is going to be Floris Bashar.
Sarah Dove, we saw her put down her time. She's going to be gridded 3rd, and Richard Tam going to be outside of her.
In the 3rd row, Osman Espedy, and alongside him, Ollie Quokka.
Jamie Wilson, Liam Quinn going to make up the next row.
Fabian Youngbluth and Andreas Elk are going to be, or Eek, excuse me, are going to be making up row 5 at 9th and 10th.
And then we go back outside of the top 10. James King and Michael Herman going to make up row 6.
James King and Dave Walsh there, Michael Herman and Edgar Sancinelli. If Edgar did not put down a time in practice, we'll see if he's going to be able to run anything here in the race. I do see him in the session. However, I do not see Dave Walsh and Michael Herman in the session, so that is going to give us 12 drivers logged in here once we get ready to start this race. Cars are lining up out there on the grid, just waiting for the race start here.
Again, we got 37 laps today. We're expecting about 1 stop, and typically these guys like to cut it in half and look for them to take tires too. I know it's a really cold track today. Tires might not be as big of a factor. Only 68 degrees outside the track temp. Boy,
in fact, let's go with that weather here. We're getting ready to have a pace lap here, so we got a few minutes to talk about. But there's those overcast skies we were talking about a few minutes ago there, Dawson. And you're right. I mean, that track temperature, not very much at all. So do you think tire wear is going to be any kind of issue this afternoon?
I don't think so. I think with as much grip as you're going to have, and Watkins Glen not really being known to be a cheese grater, I think the tires should be plenty fine. And maybe guys look to maybe gain a little bit of time and not take tires and keep them warmed up, heated tires on the car.
All the questions will be answered here in just a minute. Just waiting for the field to roll off. Now, Dawson, I know you're a little bit more familiar with this new IR-18 than I am. With the humidity at 90%, I mean, how much more down on power are these cars going to be than usual here today?
You know, that's an interesting question. I'm not really sure, actually. I think they should be okay. I know these IR-18's brand new technology, all of that air breathing, but I think they should be okay, and cars should be able to run plenty optimal.
Alrighty, so just waiting for these cars to roll off. Once again, it looks like everybody is on the grid. The only one I do not see on the grid is Edgar Sancinelli. And I think we got, one or two missing. Okay, so now we are finally rolling here. A little bit of a delay there to get things going, but now we are rolling. It is a full pace lap here. And, you know, the cars here, this is going to be probably one of the trouble spots that I'm going to have an eye on here, Dawson. This is this dive down into turn 1. We've seen cars kind of run wide here before. They try to come back on track, and there's sometimes a little bit of a problem. I see a blue car back there already getting loose. I'm not sure if Austin was trying to warm his tires or what, but maybe getting a little too hot onto the gas. But able to keep it straight, but almost wrecked it on the pace lap there. That's not very typical, but hey, sometimes it happens. But Dawson, so turn 1's one of my problem areas. What's going to be one of yours?
Yeah, I think turn 1, lap 1 is going to be very interesting. I think the next spot where there's a big passing zone but not a lot of room is going to be that inner loop, that bus stop. Guys are going to want to get onto the straightaways. You see the cars taking their pace lap. They're going to get side by side, and well, if they try to run 2x2 through that bus stop, it could end in some problems going into that beach or possibly even a tire barrier.
Yeah, not as much runoff there as some people like to think, and it's created problems in the past. So now heading down the back straightaway, you're heading toward the inner loop, the bus stop that Dawson was just talking about. You can kind of get an idea of how that narrows up right there. And then you come out wide and eventually get into the carousel, which ultimately leads you down into the boot. So if you're just joining us, we are running the full configuration at Watkins Glen here for today. So we do have that the bus stop inner loop there on the backstretch, and also we are running the boot configuration. So the cars will be diving down in there. And so if you're used to maybe watching NASCAR races at Watkins Glen, yeah, we use the full course here.
Yeah, and you see these next couple turns, they're a little bit tricky. We have an elevation change here. We got an uphill and to the right. And I know these Indy cars like to get loose through here, but again, with this really cold temperature, drivers are going to be looking to just push as much as they can out of these tires.
Do you think cold tires are going to play a role as we go into turn 1?
I think that, and just drivers thinking that there's a ton of room. I mean, you have that runoff, and you're going to see guys get 3x3 if they're not careful, and then try and break it down. I think cold tires, all of that, you could see somebody maybe hitting that rumble strip out of turn 1 and losing it with the cold tires, so plenty of possibilities.
Well, here in just a moment, we're going to get these guys going for 37 laps of action here, and you can expect lap times to probably be in that, at race pace, probably the 123 to 125 range for the leader, maybe a little bit faster, depending on how fast Henry Bennett wants to push his car here for today. And it's assuming he's able to get away from Floris Bashar right at the start. Floris Bashar does know how to run these starts, so you can look for him to maybe be a force. Also got Saradov back there, and also Richard Tam. So a couple of guys up front to keep an eye on. It's definitely not Henry Bennett's race here just yet. He's got to try to get past this turn 1. Pace car get ready to pull off. There it goes. And Henry Bennett is on the gas. We are going green here at Watkins Glen for the Absolute Beginners Indy League. Henry Bennett, fantastic jump on the field. Floris Bashar back there already having to contend with Saradov. Oh, Floris Bashar gets loose. Those cold tires, he puts it into the tire barrier. Jamie Wilson back there with him as well.
Yep, both of them just getting loose. It looked like Wilson just knocked the curbing just a little bit, and Bashar spun it off of that curb. So both of them not a great start to the race.
Yeah, we'll see if in fact, Floris Bashar is in the pits, so his day may already be done. Jamie Wilson was able to come back on track, and look at that big lead already from Henry Bennett. We're not even at a lap 1 yet, and his lead is already up to almost 2 seconds. Sarah Dove right now, fantastic start to the race for Sarah Dove. She goes ahead and takes second, but she runs wide, gets a little bit loose, and able to save the car, but she's going to lose that position to Richard Tam. She might lose a spot here to Osman Espedy as well.
Yeah, SPT down on the inside, and they make contact.
Gets loose. Oh, I saw one of the cars back there blow their engine. I'm not sure if that was Sarah Dove. I believe it was.
Oh boy, a lot of damage to Dove's car.
We'll come back to that here in just a second. But yeah, in fact, I think things are already kind of starting to calm down a little bit. Let's go back to lap 1, turn 1. We'll take a look here real quick at what happened to Floris Bashar. And Floris Bashar, of course, we get an idea of him, that back end just starting to come around on him. Let's trying to get it pulled up. There it is, the GSR replay becoming active. And a little bit late to that, but you got to get the idea that that was definitely not the way that Floris Bashar wanted to start his race. He ended up in the tires. And go ahead and go back to the actual start of the race and see the pace car pull off. And you'll see that Floris Bashar just has that back end come around on him. And really, that's just bad luck, Dawson. Just kind of catching that there with the cold tires and everything, and really didn't have much control.
Yeah, and you see Jamie Wilson also spun there. I think it was both of them kind of bad luck. You would expect that car to be okay to hit both of them curbs, but cold tires, cold weather, definitely a factor, and we talked about it early on. But boy, Henry Bennett not having any issues at all.
No, but one guy that's having a little bit, he has a little bit of front wing damage from that contact with Sarah Dove here just a minute ago, and he's going to lose a spot to Ollie Quokka, so we can move Ollie Quokka up to third, Osman Espedy back to fourth. And speaking of that Sarah Dove, before we get too far away from it, let's go back and take a look at that real quick. That's that pass that we just had was really the only on-track action there for a moment. And you can see the accident with Sarah Dove here in just a moment. It was firing up that GSRC replay machine. Once again, Dawson, with her, I mean, it was just unfortunate luck getting out there, getting wide. And I'll be honest, I think it was a little bit of netcode involved in that too.
Yeah, I definitely saw netcode. You'll see it here. They get really close, and then a little bit of tire smoke. See, they're bringing Tightening it down. SBT goes to the inside, and car just goes around all of a sudden. So definitely some net code there, but Sarah Dove's car basically totaled.
Yeah, she was able to limp it all the way around to come back onto pit lane, and I think she's out there trying to get it repaired, at least some of it repaired. And going back to the live stream here, and well, the as we talked about, Henry Bennett is up there in the lead, but back behind him, going back a few spots in the middle part of the field, there are some action. In fact, Liam Quinn running a little bit wide there, not losing a spot. So one guy I was watching out there here for just a moment. Seeing a lot of these guys, it seems like these tires are still having a little bit of trouble coming up to temperature still. I mean, it is very cool out there. And, you know, Dawson, you know, I think these guys still slip sliding around a little bit more than probably what they want to be.
Yeah, I know. When we said it right away, we acted like there was going to be a ton of grip. We didn't really pull into that factor of these tires having to heat up and maybe getting the track to heat up a little bit as these guys go on. And if these cars are still out there and you still have plenty of cars to warm this track up, we'll see that track temp increase. Now, it's only increased by 1 degree as James King going to make the pass on Liam Quinn right through the bus stop. Great move, possibly used a push to pass there.
Yeah, and don't forget that that James King started last of the cars that actually put down times in qualifying. So he's our hard charger here so far. We'll be able to slot him up into 5th after that pass over Liam Quinn.
Yeah, that qualifying time definitely misleading, but he's had plenty of pace in practice and in race now so far, so don't count James King out.
Don't want to forget about our leader. Henry Bennett is now up almost 6 seconds over top of Richard Tam, so he is setting the field on fire here so far. And so far, what we were thinking about the lap times running that 123 to 125 range is holding true, and he's just able to sit up there and just kind of march away from everybody. Yeah, we're going to ride along with him here since we kind of have the technical difficulties with our lap guide. You know, we can kind of get an idea of what it's like here at Watkins Glen. Go up through the S's, and Dawson, this back straightaway. A lot of people think that, you know, Watkins Glen being as kind of as short as it is, especially the normal courses, back straightaway, you get a lot of speed coming up through those S's.
Yeah, you get a lot of speed there, and you get a lot of speed on that front stretch too. So this isn't a track where you can only focus on turns. You definitely need that lower downforce to get that top speed out of these Indy cars.
And of course, some of these guys, especially going down in the boot, running 170 miles an hour, going on the back straightaway, I think they're running closer to 180 at times. And I know there's a lot of Sarah Dove fans out there, and they like to watch her broadcast. I'll let you know that she is back out on track. She just came back out, so she is a couple laps down, just trying to get points here at this point. Go ahead and check in on second place here in just a moment. We'll finish this lap with with Henry Bennett, and then we'll go back to second place. But he's coming around the back part of the track here. And this is a very fast left-hander. Some people compare it kind of to almost Indianapolis to the angle and the banking and stuff like that. And then this right-hander here leading on the front straightaway, Dawson's seen a lot of dreams coming to a crushing end there.
Yeah, you got that large curve on the inside, then you have that another curve on the outside, and it's really easy to lose the back end through there. Let's go check out on Richard Tam and how he's doing. Richard Tam doing a great job last lap. He ran a 1:24.9. He's putting down pretty good pace, but boy, Ollie Quokka about 4/10 quicker last lap.
You know, the problem is with Ollie Quokka is he's got some time. He's got some ground he's got to make up before he's able to get to him. But Ollie Quokka, you're right. I just watched him go through the inner loop and want to just move a spot back, and he is pushing that car right now. I think he knows that if he's going to try to get up there to get to second, he's got to go now.
And just behind him, James King. He was able to get around Austin SBT. SBT had to bring the car into the pits. Apparently that front end damage was too much, so he went in, got a fresh front clip, and is now back on his way.
He was able to do it without losing a lap. You know, I know I said that gap between Ollie Quokka and Richard Tam was substantial, but I mean I think Ollie Quokka's gained a ton on him here again in just this lap alone. That very well could be a battle that's shaping up here over the course of maybe even the next lap or two between Richard Tam and Ollie Quokka. You know, he's got a little ways back before he's able to catch the draft. But I think on some of these straightaways, once he does catch the draft, we'll see that interval between them start to shrink substantially. That last time by for Ollie Quokka was a 1:24.855. And then Richard Tam, okay, so Richard Tam actually is able to get 2/10 quicker there right on the back end of the racetrack. So Richard Tam starting to pull away a little bit. Of course, probably because we were talking about them. But, and of course, these guys also do have 10 push-to-passes to use throughout the course of this race. And we got a little bit of a battle here for 5th, 6th, and 7th. They're running nose-to-tail. That's Liam Quinn, Andreas Eek, and also Fabian Youngbluth out there as well. As they're starting to dive down, going into the boot section of the racetrack. And, of course, we know Liam Quinn, and we know actually all three of these guys. No stranger to these open wheelers.
Yeah, no, they all run around in this ABIL league. Fabian Youngbluth, Andres Eek, and Liam Quinn all have been in this ABIL and regular runners from every 2 weeks. Now, Liam Quinn doing a great job currently in that top 5, and these guys look pretty content to just run nose to tail.
Yeah, and of course they also run the Formula Renault and also previously the Skip Barber in the Absolute Beginners Formula Eagle League, which you can find on Sundays. Actually, we'll be on tomorrow with that. Yeah, so they're just regulars in the Absolute Beginners League, pretty much all the way around. Of course, call this the Absolute Beginners League. These guys, not necessarily beginners. I think they got the name just because, well, they're pretty welcoming. I mean, come on, they're letting me run the Formula Eagle Series here right now, so I mean, they got to be pretty welcoming to us backmarkers. So if you're looking for a good league to run in, you can check these guys out. They do put on a good show, and all the drivers are pretty much friendly with each other. All right, so Liam Quinn, we talked about him just a minute ago. You're getting that kind of back seat right there on board Fabian Youngbluth, and you saw that look that Andreas Eek was able to get just a moment ago. He backs out of it before they get to the inner loop, though, so still running nose to tail. And this is the battle on the racetrack right now. I think everybody else is pretty well separated. So these three guys, right, 5th, 6th, and 7th, are the ones putting on the show.
Yeah, just again, they're all running right behind each other now. As a driver, you got to make sure you don't get into that tunnel vision, that getting lost in the guy in front of you's tracks, because all it takes is for Liam Quinn to maybe overshoot one corner and Andres Eek to not really be paying attention and follow him into it, and then Fabian Youngbluth as well. So you got to make sure as a driver you're not getting caught in that driver in front of you's shadow and just doing whatever he does to keep that speed up. Now we see Liam Quinn kind of pulling away from this pack a little bit extra. Good lap of a 25.2.
Yeah, that was nearly 7/10 faster than Andreas Eek and Fabian Youngbluth, both running 1:24.9s, or 1:25.9s, excuse me. Yeah, let's see. Let's go ahead and check in. We'll come back to these guys here in just a moment. Let's check in some of these other guys up front here real quick. Ollie Quokka and Richard Tam. It looks like that battle, at least here for the most part, is remained stationary between those two guys. And of course, at least here so far, nobody has anything for Henry Bennett. Henry Bennett now up over 10.5 seconds over the rest of the field right now. Henry might be thinking about starting to lap guys here in the next couple of laps. Of course, Osman did have that pit stop, so he's a little bit further back than everybody else, but he's about 50 seconds off the leader, so he's probably only got about another 10-15 laps before he's got to start worrying about being lapped.
Yeah, Henry Bennett, he ran a 23 flat last time. Just to give you a visual, that's about a 1.5 seconds on the second place car of Richard Tam. So you can see if you go on every lap, adding a 1.5 seconds to his lead, he's going to get all the way around this track pretty quick.
Meanwhile, that battle we have been watching is starting to heat up once again. Andreas Eek right on the back wing of Liam Quinn. He's now going to be in his draft. He's going to be able to do anything here coming out of the S's and onto the back straight. Eventually going to hit the inner loop. And Liam Quinn's going to run the defensive line, swing back out, realizing that Andreas doesn't have quite the run he needs to do anything here. It just doesn't seem like Andreas is able to get through the inner loop as well as Liam here at this point, Dawson.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Quinn, they were pretty close going in, but Quinn looked like he just got that better run out of them last 2 curbs. Just get out of there straighter and quicker. So Quinn, maybe a little bit of a setup thing. I know Liam Quinn knows a lot about this Indy car. He's a great setup man and always has a quick car.
If anything, probably might be another lap or 2 for Andrews is able to, unless Liam Quinn hits the curb a little bit too hard, which he did right there. I actually think Andrews had to back out of the throttle just a touch, thinking that something might happen. Liam Quinn grabs the curb again. Yeah, I think he's starting to feel the pressure back there.
Yeah, Andres filling up his mirrors, and as a driver, that you definitely start thinking about that. You think about, I got to go a little bit quicker. I got to beat him here. I got to beat him there. You got to just run your line and hope Andres doesn't get a chance. See him pulling down this front stretch.
Oh, James King, hold on. I saw a puff of smoke, and sure enough, James King lost it coming out of the final corner. Something happened to his car. It had to have been some sort of technical glitch or something. Is on the straightaway, loses it, noses it into the wall, and his day is going to be done. Significant damage to that Indy car.
Yeah, that was really weird. I think you hit it right on the spot. The car just kind of wobbles left, right, and then right into the wall. Boy.
And Ollie Quokka has just disconnected as well. Ollie Quokka ended up on his roll bar going into the inner loop, hits the curb and goes off into the beach, and the tire wall ends up flipping him over. We'll stay with him here in just a moment here. So that is our 3rd place runner having those issues. As we're back live now, and I think so we lose our 3rd and our 4th place runner on the same lap. So is James King trying to limp his car the rest of the way around. So that changes things. That now puts that Liam Quinn battle for 3rd instead of back for 5th. So, and don't look now, Jamie Wilson is back there. Did something happen to Fabian?
Yeah, he's on pit road right now. Very early stop for Fabian. Looks like he doesn't have any damage.
You know, this is a strategy I've seen some of these guys use, although he's still on pit road. A little bit of a longer pit stop, but he is away now. Old Bill Soupson likes to call this the early peel, late reveal. So he probably came in right at the beginning of the pit window to be able to make it, and just try to be able to kind of have some clear track. But that's going to put him back near Osman Espedy. And he's already going to be almost getting past here, going up through the S's, as he's just going to let Austin go right on by.
Yeah, I saw Fabian's car go up on the jack, so he does have new tires, and them new tires are cold tires, so it's going to take a little bit for them tires to get up to life. Now, you see Espedy flying right past him. Great pass. We'll have to see if Fabian can get them tires warmed up and get a little bit of extra pace.
All right, so we got the gremlins figured out here with the GSRC replay system. We can go back to see what happened exactly to Ollie Quokka. And well, by the way, just watched Andreas Eek pulled off into pit road. So pit cycle here beginning. As we're looking at Ollie here, he's going to come down turn 1. He's going to go up through the S's. The car looks great. The car's actually going to look great right up into the point that he gets to the inner loop. So on the entry here for the inner loop, we'll watch him catch the curving in just a moment and just watch what it does to the car here, Dawson.
Boy, wow, right into that tire barrier. Hard hit. Yeah, these Indy cars, they're known not to really take well to curbs, and that bus stop, you know, there's plenty of curbs to hit and miss, and if you hit one just a little bit wrong, boy, you end up into a tire barrier.
And of course, Ollie Quokka and James King had those problems there on the same lap a little while ago, and James King, of course, losing it on the front straightaway there, and still think maybe that was a technical difficulty. It does look like he is indeed deciding to at least park it here for now. All right, so Nothing's changed up front. Obviously, Henry Bennett still in the lead by a large margin, now up over 17 seconds over Richard Tam. Richard Tam himself is no slouch. He's up there. He's up over almost 15 seconds over top of Liam Quinn. And now Liam Quinn, after the Andreas Eek pit stop, has himself some clean track now to try to see what he can do. But during that battle that we were watching with Liam Quinn, Andreas Eek, and also Fabian Youngbluth, Jamie Wilson was able to catch up to that package. And he's only a couple seconds behind Liam Quinn now. So we'll see how all that shakes up here as the pit cycle continues.
Yeah, and Andres Eek, when he came out of the pits, he was able to slide himself just in front of Fabian Youngbluth. Now, like Fabian, Austin Espety was able to get around Andres Eek. So Austin Espety, after having that pit stop to repair that front clip, he's been doing pretty well now, putting up some great pace at 25.3 last lap. So Andres Eek, and Fabian Youngbluth is having issues.
Of course, Fabian decided, oh yeah, that's big damage on him. Lost it into one of my trouble areas here, turn one. And I call this, I use an old stock car term for this, Dawson. It's the hospital wobble. He gets out there, the car wobbles, and there's just no catching it. Puts it in the barrier. He tries to drive it around, but gives up in the S's. And Fabian Youngbluth's day is done.
Boy, so that leaves 2 for that battle, and Liam Quinn going to be on pit road right now. So we're going to see where Eck is going to slot out in between Quinn and Espety.
Well, I have to see, too, if these are just guys coming in early, or is this going to be a 2-stop race? Of course, did not get fuel numbers here for today, so I'm kind of thinking it might have been a 1-stop, but it is possible it could be a 2-stop race here, given the time frame that some of these guys are stopping. So it'll be something that we'll watch out for. But Liam Quinn is away, and Austin Espety is back there as well. Liam Quinn can see Austin in his rearview mirror and trying to get those tires up to speed and up to temperature. He might very well fall back just a little bit more, but I have a feeling we're going to have a 3-car battle here for 4th position before everything's said and done, and probably even 3rd position once Jamie Wilson decides to hit pit road.
Yeah, we saw Jamie Wilson was catching Quinn before he dropped it into the pits, so if Wilson, as long as he doesn't really get hurt by that undercut and he keeps the car going, he should be able to catch Liam Quinn.
Indeed, there's that 3-car battle now fully shaped up as Liam Quinn almost up to speed. Ooh, that back end almost tried stepping out on him right there. He's feeling the pressure again from those guys behind him, and maybe trying to get those tires up to temperature a little bit faster than what they want to get up to temperature with. So if hopefully Austin and Andreas kind of lay off him just a touch while those tires get up there. They don't want to get caught up in anything. We already saw that happen with Sarah Dove a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, Quinn's just got to make sure he doesn't overdrive the car too much. You know, it's really easy with cars filling up your mirrors as quick as Espety is to, on them cold tires, try and push it a little more than what you should and get loose, especially in a corner just like turn 1 that we're coming up to right now.
And, of course, Richard Tam did pit in from 2nd position. So I think the only 2 cars that have not hit pit road at this point of the race here so far is Henry Bennett and also Jamie Wilson. I think those are your only 2 cars that have not come down pit road.
Espety all over Quinn's gearbox, now going to pull out as they go side by side heading into the bus stop. Espety going to make the pass stick.
Another thing worth talking about, especially through some of these high-speed corners here, Dawson, what about the aero wash in some of these road courses in these IR-18? Is it as significant as what it is on the ovals?
I think it's a little bit less. You got these cars with so much downforce, so it's not as bad, but definitely in corners like the carousel, high-speed corners, the last 2 corners, that left-hander and the right-hander, you're going to feel it through there. You're going to feel the car push a little bit extra. Espety getting loose through the slower speed corner. Quinn going to go to the outside on this very flat corner. Quinn going to be able to make it stick. He's going to make that pass right back.
course, that's all a product there of Austin and car breaking loose a little bit. Of course, Austin pitted really early, and he'll actually be the one, I think, he'll be able to tell us if this is going to be a two-stopper or not, because if it is, he might be having to hit pit road here before too long.
Yeah, and when you look farther up, boy, still running really well. Richard Tam still putting up a pretty good pace.
Of course, Henry Bennett, our leader, has hit pit road now as well. So I think, and Jamie Wilson now has also. So the cars right now, the pit cycle is complete.
So I got an update here on James King. You know, we saw his wreck earlier on the front stretch where that car just kind of broke free. I'm getting word that he was fixing his Oculus Rift and he let go of the wheel. Now that really does make sense, because that wheel with, oh no, Austin Espity in the wall.
Oh, Austin Espity not just in the wall, but stuck in the wall. I mean, literally in the wall. It looks like he just got in there hot, tires locked up, and that's going to be the end of Austin's day.
I remember Austin was on older tires. Oh, Eck right behind him also wrecked. You just saw that on the replay.
Yeah, Andreas Eck here having an issue. Same thing, gets in there a little hot, hits the curbing and goes into that tire barrier. See it here on the GSRC replay. So Andreas Eck's day is going to be done as well. So I got to say, Dawson, I think the winner today isn't going to be Henry Bennett. I think the winner today is going to be Watkins Glen International.
Yeah, we started this race, I believe 12 cars gridded up, and 8 of them are gone now. So, wow, the track, you know, you kind of picture from oval guys, NASCAR guys, the monster mile, you know, the monster eating cars, and Watkins Glen is turning into a monster and eating Indy cars.
Yeah, let's see. Let's go ahead and grab Ollie Quokka here real quick. Ollie, welcome to the GSRC booth. Hey, go ahead and tell us a little bit what happened to you.
Well, I stuck it into the wall myself because of problems with my eyes. The problem is sometimes when the light is fading, or when it's like as it was in the race, it's overcast, but you don't have so much light coming into your eyes, which starts, for me, it starts something called an eyes nystagmus, which is just flickering of the eyes. So I can actually barely see sometimes. And it is getting especially annoying when I get nervous. So I was going into the chicane, and then all of a sudden my eyes start to jump around like crazy, hit the curb wrong, and smash into the wall.
Yeah, but I'll be honest. So, if the benefits of being friends with an optometrist, I've heard of that condition before, and I understand that it can be pretty nerve-wracking for you. I know today it kind of bit you. What other kind of methods do you use to maybe overcome that?
The problem is I don't have them. The only reason, or not the only reason, but the only possibility for me to avoid that is being confident and knowing that everything will be all right. The problem that I had at this point was I had nobody around me, and I was gaining on Richard in second place, and I was, I think, Espity was behind me, and I was driving away from him. So the pressure was on because I was gaining on Richard, and that would have meant second place, which would have been great for the championship, for the team as well as for myself. But yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be, but I think for that reason, I will probably not run for the next race in Pocono for the season finale, because it will probably be even worse there, because I'm not that experienced on ovals, and yeah, I don't want to risk anything. That's actually the same reason that I had in Fontana at Auto Club Speedway, where I hit the wall and was lapped multiple times. It's actually the same reason, and it's just getting too annoying, really. That's why, yeah.
Well, Ollie, I got to tell you, buddy, you're fast. We know you got it, and hopefully, hopefully you're able to get the confidence up. Maybe we will see you in Pocono in 2 weeks, but I fully understand if you don't make it. But hey, man, sorry for your bad luck here for today, and we'll see you again here soon.
Thanks, guys. Thanks again for the broadcast this season. It has been awesome.
That was Ollie Quokka, unfortunately having his incident a little bit earlier on in the race, and he has decided to call it today. We want to thank Ollie for coming down and talking with us here for a little bit. And of course, during that pit cycle, Jamie Wilson was, right before it, was gaining on Liam Quinn by quite a bit, actually gaining on that entire Liam Quinn, Andre Second, Fabian Youngbluth battle. And in the process of the pit cycle, Jamie Wilson was actually able to get around Liam Quinn. Now, Liam Quinn being put in the position to try to have to chase down Jamie Wilson, and was actually gaining about a 10th per lap there just a moment ago, Dawson, but it looks like the tide is shifting back over to Jamie Wilson's favor.
Yeah, Liam Quinn doing a great job trying to chase Wilson down. You said he was gaining a little bit. Boy, I know plenty of race car drivers where they work their best in that chasing mode, in that, I gotta go and catch this guy. And Liam Quinn doing a great job trying to catch him. This would be our battle on track. If he's able to get to him, be the only one. Obviously, Henry Bennett is plenty far up the track, and Richard Tam pretty comfortably in second place. But Jamie Wilson, Liam Quinn gonna fight for that final podium spot.
And of course, at this point, with the troubles and Watkins Glen being just exceptionally tough today, we only have 4 cars actually out there running right now. That being Henry Bennett, your leader. He is up over 22 seconds over top of Richard Tam right now, and Richard Tam up over about I'd say 11.5 seconds over top of Jamie Wilson. You have Jamie Wilson and Liam Quinn, which could be a battle that shapes up here over the next couple of laps. But at this point, Liam Quinn has his work cut out for him. All right, so Jamie Wilson has decided to go ahead and come down pit road. So it is going to be a 2-stop race coming down pit road early. Let's see maybe what happens here. This worked for him before, Dawson.
Yeah, it did. And now Liam Quinn is going to have a little bit more of an open track. He's not going to have Wilson in the way, so Quinn's going to have to do his job and make sure he gets maybe a little bit of a lead and gain a little bit of extra time. Wilson down and now finally getting away out of his pit stall.
So good stop there by Jamie Wilson. We'll see if ultimately if he's able to gain any time on Liam Quinn. As we mentioned, it worked for him before. Will it work again? And of course, that'll put that battle to rest here for just a little bit, at least until Liam Quinn comes down pit road and we're able to see what he's able to do. So looking that was about 33 seconds from pit road entry to pit road exit there. And Liam Quinn, of course, will have to beat that. But, and that's the thing. One thing, too, about Watkins Glen here, Dawson, you have chances to gain a lot of time on and off pit road.
Yeah, it's an interesting pit stop. You can easily overshoot and you can easily undershoot. So making sure you get in and hit that braking marker at just the right time. Now, these guys are going to be changing the tires, as we've seen on these Indy cars, not really losing any time by doing that other than having to heat them up. So getting in, you can get in a little bit later and lock the tires up and really get the car slowed down. So Quinn looking maybe for a little bit of time there. And also that exit, you have that right-hander as you come out right past turn 1. You can get that car up to speed, really hug that side and push it through there and get into the S's as fast as possible. Let's try on board with Richard. Yeah, with Richard.
Go ahead, Dawson.
Yeah, he's going to sit right above his left shoulders. You can see him heading into the turn. But Richard Tam, we've seen him through this entire season be extremely consistent. There's nothing different today. Richard Tam doing a great job keeping that car on the road and not having terrible pace either. 25.3 last time, and we've seen this track where it's almost too cold to where it's slick. We've lost that grip, but Richard Tam not having any issues, doing a great job, just putting in laps, very consistent ones too.
Of course, Richard Tam came into today in the Snoopy Dog Motorsports machine. That may be one of my newer favorite team names in iRacing. He came in today in the 5th in the championship standings, and you know, with the room to maybe gain a little bit because you know, we got 2 guys in front of him aren't here today. That being Jan Schwetter and also Andrew Kinsella, not in the field here for this afternoon. So Richard Tam does have the opportunity to try to gain some points, and that's kind of what he's doing right now. He's got a solid 2nd place in front of him. But I just noticed, this is bad of me, I just noticed Snoopy on the side pod of that car.
Oh yeah, Richard's been known, I believe this is he has had multiple paint schemes with Snoopy on the side of the car. And boy, it's a really cool paint scheme. I know Sean loves it when he's here. He loves that Snoopy machine. Richard Tam, also a really guy, he's hard to hate. You know, when he comes in here, really nice guy, very level-headed. So Richard Tam, great driver.
Well, the class of the field here so far today, once again, been Henry Bennett. Henry up there still putting lap times down that 1:23 range and just pulling away from the rest of the field. Now that lead up almost to 28 seconds over top of Richard Tam. Will be 28 seconds by the time he completes this lap. And everybody else right now, really, Dawson, that battle is going to be for 3rd because we just got done talking about Richard Tam. I mean, he's definitely has the 2nd best car out there right now. But the battle we'll be watching, of course, is Liam Quinn and Jamie Wilson. We're interrupted by a little bit by the pit cycle. But right now, Liam Quinn, actually, he just ran a very slow lap last time around. I'm going to go back and see if I can find out what happened to him. Oh, he did come down pit road. Okay, so where did he come out in relation to Jamie Wilson? Looks like he is ahead of Jamie Wilson. Okay, so there you go. Jamie Wilson, Lightning did not strike twice as far as being able to gain a ton of time. He's going to have to still try to get Liam Quinn on the track. It actually lost a little bit of time thanks to the pit cycle there. So 3.5 seconds separating Liam Quinn and Jamie Wilson.
Yeah, I think you said it pretty well. Barring something terrible happening to our top 2 runners, I believe that them positions are pretty well set in stone. You can start carving the trophies. But Jamie Wilson, Liam Quinn, that's that last spot. Only one person's not going to sit on the podium today and finish the entire race. So Wilson, Quinn, we're going to see a great battle shape up here if Wilson can find a little extra time, a little extra speed on Quinn. I know Quinn, with that pit stop, he'd be on colder tires, so maybe running a little bit wide there. Maybe them cold tires are what's going to get Wilson closer to him.
And just looking at Jamie Wilson's lap times here, not quite as fast as what he was running before his pit stop, so I quite have the speed. Now the question I think also is going to be, Dawson, does Jamie Wilson have any push to passes left, or did he use them up all earlier? You got 10, and I don't think it's enough to overcome a 3.5 second lead. I mean, I think he still would need Liam Quinn to make a mistake or 2, but those could definitely come into play if Liam does make that mistake.
Yeah, I know Wilson had a little bit of issues early on in the race, so how much of that did he use to maybe gain some time back, or has he saved them all? I don't think 10 push to passes are gonna all of a sudden help you overcome a 3-second gap, but them push to passes, if you can get to Liam Quinn's bumper, are gonna be huge. And where are you gonna use them? You're gonna use them on that front stretch and try and beat him into turn 1. Are you gonna try and beat him into the bus stop, get side by side, and hopefully get past Quinn before that bus stop? Plenty of places and plenty of questions if Wilson was able to save them push to passes.
Well, one thing we do know for sure that if Henry Bennett doesn't feel like he needs to pit before too long, he might very well lap at least Jamie Wilson by the time he hits pit road here. I don't see that happening because, well, it would just be easier for Henry Bennett to come down pit road and go the rest of the way than it would be to lap another vehicle. But that just goes to show the kind of domination that we've seen here for today out of that green machine. Very fitting to have 007 on that car.
Yeah, he's run that car, that same scheme all year, and a really fitting car, that 007. Now, Henry Bennett, you know, you would expect a driver maybe when you get a lead like he has right now, almost 30 seconds over Richard Tam, you would expect him to maybe back off. But I'm telling you, looking at his times, you know, 28.3 or 23.8s, 23.6s, he started the race with that, and now he's down to 24.2, 23.9, 23.4. I mean, he's not slowing down. He's not taking it off the gas and maybe running it easy. He's making sure he's running the best laps he can.
And I think best laps is an understatement because, I mean, sitting out there still running 1:23.4 the last time by, I mean, you're right, he's not taking it easy. It almost makes you wonder if he's maybe just trying to stay in the groove for maybe another race at Watkins Glen at some point in the future and just trying to use this remaining part, just seeing how fast he can go for how long he can go. But he is very, very quick, as we've seen him here pretty much all season long. Is I believe today, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if he wins today, I think it would be his 5th of the season out of the 11 rounds. So that's a pretty impressive feat. All right, so Jamie Wilson is slowly gaining on Liam Quinn. That interval between them is now, I believe, down to 2.6 seconds. I could be wrong on that, but yeah. Okay, so 2.1. All right, so Jamie Wilson is coming. We gotta watch out for that interval to see if that's going to tighten up anymore. But once again, this looks like it might be the battle on the racetrack. 9 laps to go now. They'll be coming to 8 laps to go here in just a moment. So Jamie Wilson, knowing that you got to go now if you're going to go at all.
Yeah, you know, everything's pretty set in stone here. Both of these guys have done their pit stops. It's all done. Now, we do know, though, that Wilson took a pit stop very early on to get repairs for that early wreck into turn 1. So does Wilson have to maybe pit again? Is he going to be too short on fuel? That could be a big factor. Maybe this whole battle that we're hoping for ends up being null and not being anything at all.
And I'll throw a counterpoint at you. Maybe that's why he was lagging back for so long. Maybe he was trying to save a little bit of gas until he knew for sure that he can go, and now it's go time.
There you go. You know, these Indy cars, for people who don't know, who haven't raced them, plenty of fuel maps. So there's plenty for saving and doing whatever. So, you know, we saw Jamie Wilson. He was fast in qualifying. He was fast in practice. He could very easily be saving here and not trying to use as much and just saving fuel.
Well, either way, that interval is now stretched out. Liam Quinn able to get about 0.2 of a second back on Jamie Wilson, so that's back up to 2 seconds, almost flat right there. So the momentum stalled just a touch, but it's still present. Very easily swing back to Jamie Wilson's favor. I mean, just a couple laps ago, he was closer to 3.5 seconds back, so he's already gaining quite a bit of time. But the question is time going to run out? 8 laps to go here, about to be 7 laps to go. And, of course, now we're kind of wondering about fuel because of how his pit stops have gone. One guy that doesn't have to worry about fuel, though, is Liam Quinn. And Liam Quinn's able to push it as hard as he wants to for as long as he wants to.
Boy, Quinn, I keep seeing him knock them curbs in a couple of them corners, and the car just get a little bit uneasy. That keeps scaring me a little bit. You know, we've seen Quinn get loose a couple of times. Right now, for him, it's not the time to make one of the mistakes. Keep that car, just keep running consistent laps, get in that zone, get in that groove, and you know he's done that so far. But boy, it's a little bit scary with these curbs.
So, of course, up front right now, we've got Henry Bennett. We've talked about him quite a bit. Maybe not as much as what probably happens normally just because he is so far out in front. He is coming down pit road here for what should be his final stop. And car is down. He should pull away. He won't even lose the lead to Richard Tam, as Richard Tam also deciding that now is the time to come down pit road. So there you have it. I mean, Henry Bennett just out there almost over a 30-second lead right before that the pit stop started to commence. Richard Tam now coming down pit road. We'll watch him slide into his box here in just a moment. This is very deep in the field, and not expecting Liam Quinn to be able to pass him either. So Liam Quinn back there as well, still feeling the pressure now from Jamie Wilson. In fact, Jamie Wilson getting close once again to Liam Quinn. So that battle starting to shape up here, Dawson, just like we were thinking it might. And Liam Quinn does not have to pit again. Jamie Wilson is the question mark. Did he pit late enough to where is he going to be good the rest of the way? So that final spot in the podium is what's in question. Of course, we only have 4 cars left running. Watkins Glen today here pretty much just chewed up these Indy cars and spit them out in a big old wad, because just about most of the field ended up in some sort of trouble this afternoon.
Yeah, and the name of the game so far has been keeping that car clean, keeping that car out on track. Boy, Richard Tam awfully close to Liam Quinn right now?
He is.
Ooh. Could have another battle possibly shaping up.
A little longer pit stop. What Richard Tam's in favor is going to be is that his lap times before he came down pit road were almost 0.4 of a second, pretty consistently faster than what Liam Quinn had. So I imagine Richard should be able to pull away here.
Yeah, if Richard can make sure that he doesn't get past in these first 2 laps, because right now he's got them cold tires. I'm assuming he took tires, and as long as he can get them tires up to heat, and then get back to that pace that he was running before, he'll be fine. Now, if you're Liam Quinn, you're looking to make that move right now, and it's probably too far away to get to that. So Richard Tam, I would say he's still safe in that second place.
Oh, we can look out that same view. Let's look out that same view we had just a moment ago on Richard Tam's car. Let's look at that view on Liam Quinn's car, and you're going to see Jamie Wilson right there. I mean, now Jamie Wilson making a play. I believe he is close enough. Yeah, 0.7 of a second back. So now the draft is starting to get into play. If Jamie Wilson has any push to pass his left, and Liam Quinn for that matter, if he has any push to pass his left, they're probably being used right now as Liam Quinn really cuts that curbing and kicks up a little grass.
Yeah, just looking at their previous laps, Liam Quinn at 25.2, Jamie Wilson at 24.6. So that's a big time difference. That's almost a half second. Liam Quinn's going to have to kick it into an extra gear if he wants to keep Wilson behind him.
Richard Tam is not pulling away as fast as I thought he would. So his draft probably coming into play here for Liam Quinn on some of those longer straightaways. And but guy that's really has that draft right now is Jamie Wilson. He is right there. One little slip up from Liam Quinn, he's going to end up giving up 3rd position.
We're going to see there that draft that we were just talking about. Huge effect on this front stretch, and then after the S's, it'll be another huge help. So he'll be able to probably get to his gearbox by the time we get to the bus stop.
Already gaining ground here, going up through the S's. Oh, here we go. I think the pass is going to happen now. Liam Quinn doesn't have a choice. Jamie Wilson is coming through. He's going down to the bus stop. Liam Quinn tries to defend, cannot do it. Give 3rd position to Jamie Wilson.
Now, does Liam Quinn have any push to passes? Can Liam Quinn find that pace that Jamie Wilson had in that draft?
By the way, while that was going on, Richard Tam refound the speed, and he's pulled a little bit away from those two. So that battle still is going to be between Jamie Wilson and Liam Quinn, and Liam Quinn already falling back a little bit from Jamie Wilson.
Well, what a run by Jamie Wilson so far. As long as he doesn't have to make that pit stop, this has been overcoming early troubles. You know, that early spin into turn one, he's able to overcome it and not be one of the cars that wrecks out or one of the cars that spins it off a curb, and keeps that car on track and is going to be able to be rewarded with a podium finish. I think had you told Jamie after he spun that car that he'd be fighting for a podium finish, boy, you'd have said no way.
Well, I want to point out that we're sitting here, we're running lap 33. We got 4 laps to go, almost 3 laps to go as Henry Bennett is getting close to the line. That last time by for Henry Bennett was the fastest lap of the race. So he is still pushing and pushing hard. That was a 1:22.751. Let's see what he does this time by 1:22.777. So very, very quick lap time still from Henry Bennett as he pulls away from the field.
Just about a second, a little less than a second off of his qualifying time. And obviously in qualifying, I'm not sure if they use a different setup or not. We'll have to ask him when he gets in here, but they drain all that fuel. Now as this IndyCar is draining that fuel, getting a lot lighter, you're going to find plenty of that pace. We might expect to see another quick time here in the finishing laps.
Still been watching that Jamie Wilson-Liam Quinn battle that continues to separate. We'll go ahead and switch gears, look at Henry Bennett. We just talked about those fast lap times that he was running. And we'll see what he's able to do here this time by. With that green, we're going to start calling that the Mean Green Machine. I think that's a fitting name for it.
We can work with that.
And it already has a Sean Ambrose stamp of approval. I know you can't hear him, but I can. It has a Sean Ambrose stamp of approval, the Mean Green Machine. But just an incredible pace out of that car, and he is just not let up at all, despite how high or how far his lead is. This time by, and wow, a 1:22.357. Another, that was 4/10 faster than what his previous lap time was as far as his fastest lap time. I think he's toying with us here at this point.
Boy, that is, can he get any quicker? That is unbelievable.
Don't say that. He's probably going to try. Looking at Richard Tam now, whose last lap time is a 1:23.884. No slouch himself, but you know, he's been able to run a very clean race out there, and don't want to take anything away from him because this is a very well-deserved finish for him, and really it feels like if any other day he might be contending for a race win, but today's not that day, so instead he'll settle for a second-place finish, and what really is going to ultimately be, Dawson, a very good points day for him.
Yeah, you know, Richard Tam, I think there was an ongoing joke that he couldn't finish anywhere but 8th. Early on in the season, he's 8th. If I'm wrong there, maybe Sean could correct me, but he couldn't break that barrier, and as he's gone through the season, he's kept doing better and better and better, and all the way up until today, second place finish. Great job for him. Boy, Henry Bennett just went quicker.
1:22.297. I told you not to say it. I told you not to say it.
Well, think about this. You know, he hasn't really had to pass anybody, so he's probably got pushed to passes. You think maybe that's toying with his time?
I'm sure that's what he's doing right now. But you know, I've never seen anybody in an open wheeler get through the inner loop in the bus stop area as well as what Henry Bennett is right now. I mean, that car is just on rails through there, and I don't think it's necessarily so much the car as it is the driver. Just very, very smooth. You don't see a lot of jerkiness in the wheel or anything else. I mean, he's got this IR-18 down just packed, and this racetrack down packed here today to where he is just on rails and going. I mean, he's already going through the carousel down in the boot section, and Richard Tam's just going through turn 1. And by the way, well, as Henry Bennett now on the last lap, that battle between Jamie Wilson and Liam Quinn has fully separated. So we're going to stay here on Henry Bennett coming through the last couple of corners. He's got to go left one more time. Here comes the last right-hander onto the front straightaway. Gets really close to those tires. I think he's going to try to set the fastest lap of the race here on the last lap of the race. Checker flag goes to Henry Bennett. And by the way, almost. He was only about 1/100th of a second off from having his fastest lap of the race be the last lap of the race. Here comes Richard Tam going through the boot section of the racetrack. He'll be coming back up onto the main course here in just a second. Bringing Snoopy along with him. Fantastic day for Richard Tam. Able to keep that car clean. A little bit of a scare right at the beginning of the race, but able to overcome it and bring that car home. Just after a couple more corners, he'll be bringing the car home. And we'll have to congratulate him when he comes into the booth here in just a minute. Great points day for Richard Tam. He's going to come home second. And go back to Jamie Wilson. Jamie Wilson coming off the last corner as well. Jamie Wilson will be coming home in the last podium spot. Great battle with him and Liam Quinn, as Liam Quinn now finishes this race as well. So there's your 4 finishers after a very, very tough day at Watkins Glen. We come back here in just a few minutes. We're going to run down the finishing order and talk to our winners. Well, after a day where Watkins Glen really showed the field who was boss, one guy was able to rise above and show Watkins Glen who was boss. And that was Henry Bennett coming home in first place here for today in a race that only 4 cars were able to finish. Richard Tam coming home a very strong second place. Jamie Wilson in third, and Liam Quinn coming home in fourth. Fantastic battle there at the end between Jamie Wilson and Liam Quinn. Andreas Ick coming in fifth spot. Austin Espedy in sixth position. Fabian Youngbluth coming home in seventh. James King in eighth position, and Ollie Quokka. We talked to Ollie earlier, had some problems with his eyes, and that's one reason what happened to him. He comes home in ninth position. Sarah Dove in 10th as well. And being the short field, I'll go ahead and round it out here real quick because we only have one more guy that actually took the green. That was Floris Bashar. And, of course, running into trouble right there, lap 1, turn 1. So an unfortunate start to the race there for Floris Bashar. And, Dawson, I believe you're going to catch up here with our winner, Henry Bennett.
Yep, Henry, on a day where you showed Watkins Glen who was boss, your pace was unbelievable. You had that car on rails. You were setting very, very fast laps, even at the end of the race. Boy, you had this track figured out, man.
Yeah, had a good set and did a lot of practice, not specifically for this race, but Watkins Glen was the last race of the official season. They just finished last season, so did a lot of practice for that. So yeah, I think I got this track pretty much nailed, so yeah, it helped today. And with the low temperatures, it really pushed the car to its limits.
Yeah, talk about them low temperatures. You know, we saw what we thought was going to be a really grippy track, but we saw plenty of guys on colder tires spinning the cars up. Was that ever an issue for you?
Yeah, it's something I had to be really aware of with this car. Obviously, there's no tyre warmers, so it's cold tyres out of the pits and at the start, so you have to be really careful. It takes at least a lap, if not 2 laps, to get the tyres up to temperature, so either take it easy or up the pressures for the outlap just to survive. So yeah, something that everyone had to be aware of. Yeah, I noticed a few drivers fell foul of that early in the race.
Now we saw the times that you're putting at the end of the race, the 22.3, 22.2s. They weren't very far off your qualifying time. Is there a difference between your qualifying and your racing setup other than the fuel?
Yeah,
or is that a secret? Is that
there's no secret. It's just, yeah, quality is the race set with fuel taken out and a smaller radiator inlet, obviously, because you don't have to worry about overheating. And obviously the ride heights reset for the lower fuel. But my fastest lap, I managed to use 1 push to pass for that down the main straight. That's the main difference, really. In the race, you can use push to pass. And at the cold temperatures, you can kind of the tyres are kind of at their optimum, 3 or 4 laps into the run, I'd say.
So, well, great job on your win today, and I believe, this championship is yours, team and drivers' championship. So, congratulations on that. And I'm assuming we'll see you at Pocono in 2 weeks.
Yep, looking forward to it. Love Pocono, and yeah, thanks. Still both championships, which really pleased about.
All right, Henry Bennett, your winner today at Watkins Glen, also your team and driver standings championship winner, Adam.
Yeah, but with that, we'll bring in our second place finisher here for today, Richard Tam. And Richard, you gave Snoopy a pretty good ride today.
I wasn't really sure about the pace of others, just because we don't really run this kind of weather, even when we do race Watkins and official. But to finish second was no easy feat. I don't think I was the second fastest car, and we could kind of see how big the attrition was. So I had my own moments, but I managed to keep the car running and finish in second.
Now, and talk to us a little bit about the attrition and what you were seeing around us. I mean, did you expect, obviously you brought up the cooler temperatures. Did you expect for people to have that many problems on the cold tires?
I did not, just because of the amount of the other drivers that did not finish the race, like Austin, Andreas, Ollie, James, Sarah, even Fabian, because they've been racing pretty much most of the season. So I was a bit surprised. I was kind of gutted for Sarah, especially because she outqualified me even, and but she couldn't really finish the race, so that was kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one being a little bit unfortunate. But, you know, you came in today, 5th position in the points. You know, a couple of guys weren't able to make it here for this afternoon. It puts you maybe a spot to be able to gain a spot or two in Pocono. What do we have to look forward to from you for there?
I'm not exactly sure if I'm running Pocono yet, because I just realized it's Honda Indies Toronto is that weekend, so trying to figure out my plans for that. So yeah, I might not run. I'm not exactly too sure. I kind of want to see the real thing.
hey, I don't blame you there. But hey, Richard, once again, congratulations today. 2nd place finish, good show, and we'll see you again hopefully here in 2 weeks. But if not, we understand.
Okay, yeah, see you.
All right, so that was your 2nd place finisher, Richard Tam. We also were able to talk to our winner, Henry Bennett. Dawson, any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Boy, Henry Bennett put on a great show today and able to come away with that championship. Hopefully, you guys can still tune in next week for Pocono and catch some good action.
Well, with that, the Absolute Beginners Indy League is responsible for organizing. Excuse me, Absolute Beginners League is responsible for organizing, of course, this Indy series and also a few of the other series you see here on GSRC. And we want to thank them for contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. Thanks to the company's equipment and software that you see on your screen that we use for our broadcast. The original music that gives every GSRC that unique flavor and feel is thanks to Eric Eckholm and June Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact each of them.
The ABIL returns in 2 weeks. We'll stay on the road, and we're going to go to Pocono Raceway on the 14th. GSRC will be there to bring you all the action, and we hope you join us. Sliding across your screen now are some of the upcoming broadcasts, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it all at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, and find time to subscribe to the channel. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel.
And finally, on behalf of the man whose voice you just heard, Dawson Brock, our director Sean Ambrose, and our camera artist Dougie Beard, I'd like to thank everybody for watching here this afternoon. Until next time, race clean, race hard. See you on the track.